Hello there, Shortcuts. This is video 2 for this very special week in the history of Shortcuts. This is our 5th anniversary. This is the classic rock list, and this is a compilation of all of the classic rock records that have underpinned or defined this 5-year period in the history of our club. The first Shortcuts list went out under a different name, but it was kind of in my mind 5 years ago this week on Facebook, which I can't stand, by the way, hence why we're not on Facebook anymore. And so over the last 4 months, I've been gathering up this definitive collection of all of the records that are most important to the first 5-year history of Shortcuts in the classic rock and pop vein. I just recorded the genre list, which was jazz, funk, soul, and blues. And it's got some classics, and so does this. Now, because it's such a special week, I have a prize. Whoever buys a record, everyone who buys a record gets an entry into a draw to win the Japanese press of Let It Be in beautiful condition. The 7-inch single will be in someone's package. If you buy, I think there's 25 records across, or maybe 30 records across the two lists. If you buy 5, then you have a 1 in 6 chance of winning. It'll be like that. So there you have it. The Beatles' Let It Be is the prize this week. So I have to figure out... Oh, by the way, if you would like to buy one of these records, stick around to the end and I'll tell you how you can do that. There's an email list that you have to join. So where to start with the history of classic rock and pop and Shortcuts? And really, there was only one place to go, and it took me a long time to find this. This is the Japanese press with cap obi of The Kick Inside by one Kate Bush. 1978, Kate Bush arrived as a fully formed auteur, songwriter, pianist, choreographer, trendsetter, and was one of the key reasons why Shortcuts began. In maybe my very first purchase from Shinjuku, this record was in there, and I remember listening to it for the first time. And part of the reason that it was so memorable was during lockdown, and my wife Melissa absolutely hated the record, hated it viscerally, and I was the absolute polar opposite. I thought it was glorious. Now, I'd kind of known the record. Of course, I knew the singles, but I hadn't lived with it. And part of the glory of these beautiful Japanese presses is that records like this, to me anyway, in this 5-year period of my life as a music lover, is kind of helped me discover things that just had passed me by. And the man with the child in his eyes, I still remember listening to it and thinking, how have I not realized how incredible this is? That breathy mic technique, the lyrical economy, the beauty of the instrumentation, just everything. I wanted to pirouette around the room, let alone the beautiful Kate Bush. And of course it had that sleeve. The sleeves in the UK and in the US or Australia, I think there may be Canada, maybe 1 or 2 other countries that had this sleeve, were so dull compared. This is the most strikingly beautiful sleeve, and I know it's got other undertones, but I do think, wow, she's so beautiful. And it's like a corollary to her unbelievable talent. There's just something about Kate Bush that just set the ball rolling. And the kickoff album on the genre list was Moanin' Art Blakey. I couldn't have it not be Kate Bush, The Kick Inside. She wrote The Boy with the Child in His Eyes when she was 13. And I think the intimacy and the innocence of that is preserved with the strings And of course, she went on to incredible things. I mean, arguably, you could say Hounds of Love is what should be here, but it isn't, because this is what helped get the ball rolling. Now, in terms of this list, the record that is by far and away the biggest selling in the history of all of Shortcuts, and it's twice as much as the next highest, which ironically is the one record that I couldn't find for the genre list, which was the Best of Otis Redding. This album is by far and away the biggest selling in the history of Shortcuts. It is no surprise. It is the mighty Thriller, Michael Jackson. For those of you who've been in my listening room, look at this absolutely glorious copy. Been in my listening room, you will know that side 2 of this record has been part of my kind of listening intro kind of regime since I first got it. There's that wonderful book, and then there's the absolute craziness of the posters. So this one I kind of get, but why there's a tiger on his knee has never been explained to me. So everything present and correct with this beautiful copy. So why is this so good? Well, the vinyl is great, but they just took such precise care with this pressing that when you drop it, it's just a treat to the ears. And so, I know MJ, right? I mean, he's got plenty of history. We know that. But what he did with Quincy Jones in the mid-'80s, early to mid-'80s, is really, really special. Now, I have a couple of 12 inches of this as well. I have the Thriller 12-inch and one or two others as well. So keep an eye out for those on the list. I made myself promise that I will only have one record on these videos for this incredibly important list. All right, third on the list is this. This is an album that I had to learn to appreciate. It is very muggy. It is not audiophile. It was recorded in a French chateau in what was virtually a drug den. It was an in and out house for undesirables, and yet somehow the Rolling Stones pulled off Exile on Main Street. Now, I had a vinyl copy of this. It was a recent repress. It was one of the first records I ever bought. This is the first press with the inner. Just making sure it is the first press. Yeah, it is. And so, but I never listened to it because it sounded hollow. It sounded weak. And I always thought it's just the recording. It's just the nature of what they did. Everything bleeding into each other. And look at it. I mean, it's chaos. Look at the sleeve. The sleeve is chaos personified. It's a wildly uneven double album. It's a lunatic asylum. Yet, on this wonderful pressing, it just comes alive. The whip snap Charlie Watt drums rocks off, rip this joint, tumbling dice, shine a light. It's a double LP that just is like an endless night out, which I think is probably what it was. And there's a bit in the middle with Regurgitator Blues and Sweet Virginia and some of the others where the night reaches in the nadir. And I like to think that's when all the undesirables are doing the things they need to do. But then you come out the other side with Soul Survivor and you think, the proverbial dawn. It's really wonderful and very, very hard to get this now. These copies are increasingly hard to find and in really nice condition and affordable prices. And so unashamedly, some of these are going to be a little bit pricey, but if you don't have a killer Exile Main Street, I love this. Has to be part of the legacy of the first 5 years of Shortcuts. Right. Some classics to come. I haven't had to yell at Bowie. I had to yell at Bowie a couple of times on the first video. The Japanese first press of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. This is the third album I ever bought from Japan. I don't think it's my favorite David Bowie album. That changes, but I think my favorite's Hunky Dory, or maybe Scary Monsters. But I still love it more than just about anything. And the Japanese press, first press of this in particular, is an absolute joy. You will know a few weeks ago, I made a little David Bowie puzzle. I've got David Bowie hanging in my record room. I think he was a shining light, just someone who was on a journey, and I don't know, loved him to bits. Love this record. Love the fact that this is part of the history of Shortcuts. Now, this next record is the one that probably is closest in terms of sales to MJ's Thriller, but isn't quite there, but is still pretty special. Not one of my favorites, but I know a lot of you love it. It is Hotel California, the hard cardboard Japanese first press. Now, I'm going to have to check whether it's got the poster. It might not do, but it's got the Obi. Wonderful sounding thing. Bonkers band. Really. I mean, up there with Fleetwood Mac in terms of nuttiness in their own way. But there you have it. Really beautiful vinyl, lovely EQ, the stacked harmonies, the guitars. You know what you're getting with this thing. Now this next record is something that means a lot more to me. If I had to pick off the shelf my favorite Japanese rock pressing and run out the door with it, if it was genre, it would be Blue and Sentimental by Ike Quebec. If it was Japanese, pick your favorite rock album and go, this one would be in the top one or two. This one may even win the prize. It is this. I have had to search high and low to find a first press of this in good condition. It is Tonight's the Night by Neil Young. Hard cardboard, gatefold, probably up there with Exile on Main Street in documenting a come down. In this case, this is part of the Ditch trilogy of Time Fades Away and On the Beach, where Young was mourning the death of Danny Whitten, his best friend, from a drug overdose. It has the posters, it has the booklets, it has everything in beautiful condition. This thing sounds amazing. And the weird thing is, it is not an audiophile record in the kind of general. It's not Steely Dan. It's Neil Young, so it's got rough edges and mistakes, and it's a bit ornery and grumpy in places, but it's the organic genius of this guy and what he was able to do. I think Tonight's the Night is an all complete from end to end masterpiece, and so therefore it's on this list of the first 5 years of Shortcuts. All right, how do you come out of Tonight's the Night? Well, I think it's this. Another one that needs no introduction is Parallel Lines, Blondie. Even on Friday night, I had a dear friend round, and you know who you are, sir, and we played Fade Away and Radiate from this record the Japanese first press of Parallel Lines by Blondie. Hanging on the telephone, one way or another, picture this, Fade Away and Radiate, Pretty Baby, I Know What I Don't Know, Sunday Girl, Heart of Glass. I mean, it just goes on and on. You cannot find a better pop record, in my opinion. And it is the first press on Chrysalis. Super sleek, super beautiful. Had to be on there. Now, some of you are probably wondering, how can I get this far down the list without talking about the Beatles, who have been a cornerstone in many respects of the history of shortcuts. There are many wonderful Japanese presses of Beatles albums. And what I've done with this little selection is curated what I think are the top 5 in terms of my ears of what I've enjoyed. And there's a few themes. The EAS series, I think it's from 1976, they called it the British Flag series of represses, are in most cases superior to the earlier represses, and so therefore they dominate this list. So I'm going to start with this, the White Album. Now this has got the poster, it's got the pinups, it's got everything that you need to enjoy this incredible record. I went to a Flash of White party for a 50th about 10 days ago, and Finbar, can you please leave for 15 minutes? Right now.
I didn't do anything.
You're distracting me. Sorry about that. So this is the 1976 press. You can obviously see the Obi. This is, I think, the best sounding version of this record that I've found in the history of the club, and it is really hard to find with the Obi and everything intact. So White Album, it had to make the cut. Now, in the same series is Abbey Road. Now, quite a few of you have come and I've played some Abbey Road on my system as demo, and Japanese versions of Abbey Road are utterly magnificent. And this EAS version is great. Super vibrant and beautiful, makes them sound like a rock band. Just great. If you don't have a killer copy of Abbey Road, you cannot go wrong. Now, a little variation on a theme is this. The early AP presses of Revolver are what tickle my ears. I really like this one. It's got the original kind of flip back sleeve. Revolver has to be on here. Now, in terms of sales, Revolver is the lowest because it's so hard to get really nice copies. They're so held, and I wonder if that is, I don't know, maybe that is a proof point we should use about how many people's favorite album is Revolver. Very, very hard to get, and this is a lovely copy. And then finally for the Beatles, again from the EAS series, are 2 compilations that have really grown on me and many of you. Hey Jude and Rarities. Not official albums, but beautifully pressed. Absolutely part of the canon of shortcuts. So many of you have picked up great Beatles records through the years, and I had to showcase them. The only band who got multiple records in either list is the Beatles. So there you go. Beat me up for it. Right. Now, what did I have list? Oh, yes. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 to go. 2 double albums. And 2 that are maybe going to be a surprise. In terms of rock albums where I've been surprised at how vociferous and positive the feedback has been, this album is the one that stuck in my mind, and I decided to find another copy. It is Queen Live Killers. The hard cardboard gatefold on black vinyl. Now, what's interesting is there is a variation of this record that has translucent green and translucent red vinyl. And some of the feedback from the group has been that the black vinyl sounds better. So that's why I went with it. This is peak era Queen, 1979. Freddie in command, the band in full flow. I think I quite like the fact that they went back to the likes of Brighton Rock and others, because they're some of my favorites. I know critics nitpicked like hell, the splicing and various things. But I just had so many people who told me that this record, I had a couple of people who bought it as birthday presents for their better halves, and then would send me notes afterwards just saying, oh, so good. And so, maybe controversial, but it made the cut. This next one, I'm sure, will be a curveball to many of you. And it is because it is unexpected how positive the feedback has been about the quality of this pressing. And it has meant that I have found it many times over the years, and it disappears like that. And it is this. It is 1984 by Van Halen. I know, right? I mean, not an album that means a lot to me. That tap guitar, the neon charisma of everything about it, it's that kind of California hard rock pop. It's just not me. Jump, Panama, Hot for Teacher. I don't know. I know they're hook machines. I get it. But some of you have been unbelievably positive about how good this sounds. And so therefore, it made the cut. See, I do listen. All right. The third highest sales in the history of shortcuts is this. The Japanese first press of Carole King's Tapestry. It is on hard cardboard, and what is wonderful is in the middle is a centerfold fold out of a tapestry. And this record sounds as beautiful as it sounds, as it looks. It is the Green Label Japanese first press, third place in the history of sales of shortcuts goes to this lovely, lovely album. And it's the first time I've had it in donkeys because, again, super hard to find. It's really, really tough to get a hold of it. But there you go. I just think you enjoy it. Now, finally, this is a record that's kind of snuck onto the biggest selling list in the 5th position and therefore had to be on the list. And I like it very much. It is the first press of Layla. Derek and the Dominoes. Hard cardboard gatefold. Another 70s double LP. But this one for me isn't about Eric Clapton. It's about Duane Allman. The other record that I just couldn't find anywhere else was the compilation of the best of Duane Allman that so many of us have bought, including me. And second prize was Layla. Duane Allman's playing on this album verges on godlike. And so therefore, it's part of the canon. So many of you have bought it and loved it. So there it is. So all of these will be for sale on the price list this Wednesday. Now, for those of you who have not joined my price list, you need to send me an email to shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com. shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com. I will add you to the list. Everyone who buys will be entered into the draw to win this single, Let It Be, by the Beatles. If you buy 5 records, you get 5 entries. And I think there might be 28 records. So 5 entries gives you 1 in 5 chance of winning this beautiful conditioned little artifact. Please leave a comment. Please tell me you've enjoyed these 5 years of shortcuts. What's your favorite record on this list? Do you like my 5-year celebration idea? I hope you do. Price list will go out sharp 9 p.m. Wednesday, the 26th of November, Sydney time. Drop me an email, shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com. Thank you. Bye.